name is Marten. I'm the founder and CEO of Gamecan, and we make games for different platforms on Unreal Engine. And yes, here are my slides. So basically, what I'm gonna talk about today is building a successful studio on the ashes of our failures. Very dramatic title, but that's the one we went for. And also, I think I have like a 30-minute slot here, and I prepared to talk to be maybe like 20 minutes. So, based on my previous experience in doing these kinds of talks around different events and conferences, I always really like to provide information that's actually like viable and interesting to the audience. So, definitely drop your questions during the talk, and then I'll try to address as many of them as possible. But jumping right into it, I'm going to talk a bit about our history, what we do in GameCan, about our team, our culture, games, office, Pärnu, and our general vision. So first and foremost, in 2014 was my first contact with game development. Like very long story short, my background is a mixture of everything. I come deeply rooted from the hip hop culture, being a breaker for half my life, and even like my first company that I ever started was before game development was a dance studio, like a few hundred meters from here. And then mixed into that background is video production, web development, graphics design, all kinds of different things. I, I really liked teaching myself new stuff, and especially in the end of 90s and beginning of 2000s in Estonia, when you had a computer and internet access, it felt really kind of Western to have digital skills and do cool stuff. And other than that, I've been like a hardcore gamer my whole life. And at one moment, we were uh, playing in some tournaments and scrims with our Assassin's Creed competitive clan. And one of the guys asked if I would like to help them with After Effects to make a cool user interface for a game. And I asked what kind of game it is and do you have any documentation? And they didn't have much. So I joined for that reason, but because I already had this kind of project management and business development and leadership experience before that, I kind of started adding value in different areas. And only a few months went by, and the main guy from Israel that was running the project asked if I would like to take over. At first, I said no because I really didn't have any idea about making games, but then it really started like eating me inside out, and I decided that okay, I'm gonna develop my man cave with pizza boxes and energy drink cans everywhere, like an asocial person. And for 2 months I consumed everything that I found online about making games, and then I told them all right, sure, let's do it. And then from 2014 to 2019 we did basically the indie game bingo meme, where we got every single square from a failed Kickstarter to revenue share deals. We had like 30 people working for free, which just didn't work. We didn't produce anything. And at one moment, I was lucky enough to find our current CTO, Flavio Pontes, who showed me the light, and we switched from Unity to Unreal Engine. And with his help, we were able to develop Overstep into early access. Overstep is our free-to-play arena shooter. And thanks to that, we got massive interest from different publishers and bigger studios to use our skills, because it was apparent that we really knew what we were doing with Unreal Engine. And uh, especially when like Unreal Engine 5 was announced, a lot of publishers around the world went to their studios and said that okay, next game we're doing together is going to be on Unreal. So there were literally hundreds of studios and teams who moved from Unity or proprietary engine or game maker to Unreal. But the kind of double-edged sword with Unreal is that it's a super powerful engine. You can get a lot done with it. You can make high performance games with a lot of kind of AAA features and mechanics, but if you don't fully respect the framework of Unreal Engine, it's gonna bite you in the ass, and you're gonna need to rework a lot. So in 2020, we started with this work for hire model, and It felt like the right thing, not to take on too many investments and give away like 90% of our company, but doing work for hire and building our own team and funds and everything with it. And basically, we have mostly been hired as firefighters. So let's say a game is in production for 18 months and there's like 4 months left and nothing is working. We're talking about like multiplayer, consoles, split screen, whatnot. And then we go in and we help them out and the game gets released. But also right now we're working on one full development game, which our team is doing an amazing job on. And very fast we grew from 8 to 50 people in like a year and a half. And if we look at the revenues of the company, then it grew around 700% from 2020 to 2021. Then basically what I already went over, we're Unreal Engine specialists. We do everything multiplayer. We do all the C++ heavy work, tools development, and backend work. We're working on two games of our own. One is Overstep. The other one I cannot mention it. And then we're working on three games for our clients. And basically, yeah, like the whole point of work for hire for us is to maybe one day drop it or create a subsidiary. But thanks to that, we can, break even and fund our own team development. And who knows, maybe at one point we have like 200 people and all the finances to make any game we want. Our team is probably the number one, two, and three reason that we have grown so successfully, and like all our clients have been super happy with us. We at the moment have 17 different nationalities, which is a super enriching experience. And the reason behind it is that Estonia is, I cannot anymore say taking baby steps in game development, but it's like if we compare it to Finland, which generates billions in revenue across the industry, then the Estonian gaming industry size last year was, I think, about like 50 or 60 million euros. So in Estonia, it's super difficult to find Unreal Engine developers, and right now around the world as well. Like this, if we're talking about like what challenges we have, talent acquisition is our number one challenge. We have so much work behind the door and window and chimney and everything that if we could hire 20, 30 Unreal Engine developers who know C++ like today, we would definitely do it. But like in Estonia, it's impossible to find, and even across the world, it's like a big challenge. And because of the culture as well, we are looking for people who are respectful, kind, good human beings to each other. And it's a difficult mix, if you need people with more experience because we are doing premium end work, then they must be in the industry for some time. And what sometimes happens is if you're talking to a senior developer who's been around for like 10 years, there's a higher tendency of some toxicity or ego being there compared to someone who's been in the industry for a few years and is more humble. But then again, the skills are not there. But we're working on it every day. And the team we have highly talented people, and they are experts at Unreal Engine, and of course the other team members as well, who are not developers per se. And if you want to check out what we're doing on a daily basis, then definitely follow our Instagram. Maret, who is working on marketing, and a few other team members produce some really cool content of our day-to-day life and what we do in the office and outside of the office. Next, our culture. This one is probably the most important thing to spend time on and talk about this slide. The culture of the company has been something that we have focused on from day one. And a few items here is that maintaining a good work and life balance is important. Luckily, we can do that rather easily in Pärnu, which is an amazing city to live and work in. And the other one is a non-toxic environment. And the third is that all candidates are interviewed by myself. to really make sure that chemistry would be there, that they are respectful human beings, and they would get along well with the team. And in terms of activities, we do a lot of stuff outside the office as much as we can. We have Spa Tuesdays with everyone who's in Pärnu working on site. We go to a very nice spa every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock, and then we have our summer retreats with the whole team. Sometimes we have like sauna and barbecue at my mother's place, so we try to be like a very tight knit family. On the other side, we're encouraging and supporting both professional and personal goals, making sure that we are aware of where each team member wants to go in their career. We make the relocation process as smooth as we can. We have a few team members that work and help with the whole process from sending applications for temporary residence permit, temporary employment permit, D visa for relocation. Our dedicated team members help the relocatees check for apartments. You know, after you move to Estonia, then there's a good support system to know everything, where to get your favorite toothpaste, or where to buy a winter jacket that you don't freeze with in our sometimes minus 20 Celsius environment here. And now, super important one, which is always kind of like a sensitive topic, even in some job interviews, is that we make games inside the work environment. There's no ideologies, politics, agendas, no bullshit basically discussed. And why it's a sensitive topic is that, politics are a part of our life that are always around us. But the downside is that politics divide people. Imagine if we have team members from 17 different nationalities, their backgrounds, cultures, ethics, everything is super difficult to kind of get on the same page. So, as politics divide people, we just don't do that inside the office. We came here to make games, work on interactive entertainment, and that's the focus inside Gamecan. And there are some other values as well that are a part of our culture. Like one is that we are over the top ambitious. Uh, in terms of our vision, we want to become one of the biggest and best Unreal Engine development studios in the world, and at one moment then fully focus on our own games. Then another one is that long-term relationships are key. We're looking for people who are trying to find the right work-life environment for them, and at least consider being with one company for 5, 10, 20 years maybe, and then grow together with that company, help develop that company, and kind of at the end of the day, you know, Gamecan is just a business. Like it's a vehicle. And if we all come together and create those long-term relationships, we can make that vehicle an awesome one that uplifts and supports everyone's both professional and personal life. And another one is that we always under promise and over deliver. So this one is more like an external one. When we talk with our potential clients, other partners, it is super important for us to keep a very high standard on our work, and it is showing really well from the feedback that we're getting from the publishers and studios and other partners that we are working with or working for. Next, games. Overstep is where everything started, as I mentioned already. Right now, we are working towards a few publishing options. And once we get full funding for Overstep, then it would take like 6 to 8 months to do a full release on it. A few games we have worked on, for example, are the G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, Street Power Soccer. Now, one of the recent ones released was a Nerf game. Open Country was one of them. And then there are other games that we're working on. One of them is Maximum Football, which is a pretty interesting experience. I personally think it's coming along really well, and from the feedback from some close testing and from the publisher as well, we're doing a great job. And I think one of the reasons why we're doing a great job is that, on the contrary, since the beginning, we said that in Gamecan we will never make sports games and simulation games because they're effing boring, and we play games to kind of experience something different from real life. And additionally, it's American football. Like, we might know a bit about soccer, but about that, for the first 2 months, we just needed to play all other American football games and watch watch matches and read a lot of documentation to even understand what's up and why the game is becoming potentially a super successful title once it's released is that because of our low initial interest of it, the whole team has put a lot of effort into it, that we would make a sports game that's of American football that is fun for ourselves as well. And I think that's one of the main reasons it's going so well with the fun aspect of it. And then there's a lot of other big things in the works that I cannot mention yet. The next one is Office. The Gamecan's office is in the city center. It's in a new custom designed office is in the works, like a few hundred meters that way. And for us, it's very important that all of our team members have proper tools to work with. So we have powerful desktop machines. You can see the workstation specs here: Ryzen 9, 5950X, 64 gigs of RAM, and RTX 3070 Ti. Yes, for the company, it's a bit of a higher end investment. And especially as we try to move like 1 to 2 team members that are working remotely to Estonia, Pärnu, like per month, then we need to make those investments rather often. But on the other end, like compiling speeds and rendering speeds and everything on those PCs, if they're faster and people don't need to look at loading animations all day, every day, I think that's a very good investment. And I think it's more comfortable and a better feeling to work on computers like that as well. And Estonia is known as a very high tech environment, and for that reason, most of the offices, at least like office buildings, in at least in city center here, have a 1 gigabit internet connection. And right now we're working with a real estate developer to move into a new office. Our current one is 2 different rooms, both 100 square meters, and the next one will be 600 square meters, and we'll probably move into there in August. And if everything goes well, we're already working on something called Gamecan Academy, where we will start Unreal Engine courses with a very, very specific goal that if you do those 9 months of education, you are hireable as an Unreal Engine developer. And for that reason, we will probably keep at least one of these 100 square meter rooms in this building to use as a classroom. And a bit about Pärnu. It is the perfect environment for a good work-life balance. It's a small city with 40,000 people in it, and everything is close proximity. The beach, the river, parks, hiking trails, nature, forest, and at the same time, everything you would need in terms of products, goods, and services. It's right here next to you as well. It has rather low living costs and 9 spas. We're really crazy about spas. Basically, if you live in a place that is sometimes very cold and sometimes very dark, going to a spa, especially the sauna, jacuzzi, and pool part, is like a solar panel. It's like something that you can charge yourself in. It's like charging your bones with heat. And yeah, I guess one of the things that's probably hardest to get used to for people who move to Pärnu or Estonia is that it's a bit dark. Like, I think in November, December, it can get dark outside, I don't know, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. And then you need to find alternative ways to kind of nurture yourself. And uh, even for Estonians, it's not something that we praise or like a lot. but you get used to it and you find ways to get around it. Uh, in terms of the low living costs, like rent is going up a bit right now, but we'll see if it's permanent. But in general, yeah, like our office is pretty much right in the city center. Like the city center intersection is like 10 meters away from the entrance. And if you want an apartment, let's say in like 200-meter radius from the office, let's say 40 square meter apartment, the rent, I guess, is around like 400, 450 euros. Uh, this one, it's always important, like if you're an entrepreneur or even joining a team or working somewhere, that the company would have a clear vision of where they want to go. Our clear vision is that we want to be one of the strongest Unreal Engine studios on the planet. We're using work for hire to grow our team, processes, network, and culture. There's a lot of growing pains. If you grow from 10 people to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 100, some of these issues are kind of like, or challenges are universal. So if you can find someone that has done what you want to do, then talk to them, try to kind of learn how to mitigate some of those growing pains. Then by 2025, we are planning on founding a subsidiary that takes on all the work for hire business. And then the Gamecan is in a position where we have the team and financials to make any original game we want. So we do not intend to stay a full service studio for the longest time. And another important one for us is that Gamecan is kind of the flagship Estonian game dev ecosystem developer as a studio. And for that reason, we already, together with Placeholder Gameworks and now recently Ringtail joined us, have founded and funded a company called Game Dev Estonia, which already since November has fully mapped out the whole industry in Estonia and is doing a lot of good work in elevating the scene here. You can go check it, gamedevestonia.ee, I think. Yeah, gamedevestonia.ee. And yeah, always maintaining our culture. Questions? Do you think focusing on growing the ecosystem takes off your speed from the pedal to complete your vision? Very, very good question. Basically, why we didn't start with the activities earlier that Game Dev Estonia is doing right now is exactly because of that risk. We needed to wait until we're in a position where we can fund activities like that. So once we felt we are in that position, we interviewed a lot of potential CEOs for it. And then we picked Andres, who has had already founded a video game museum in Estonia and had a lot of other relevant experience as well. So right now we have the CEO working in Game Dev Estonia. We have a management assistant working in Game Dev Estonia, and they're both also working towards getting either some EU funding or Estonian enterprise funding for activities and hiring more people. So basically, yeah, myself personally, Game Dev Estonia is maybe taking like 30 minutes of my time per week, which is ideal. Otherwise, yes, it would take the speed off the pedal to complete our vision. Many Turkish game companies have entities in Estonia via e-residency. Any shout out for them about Estonia? I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. I am not aware of. Promote Estonia. Got it. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I would like everyone to come to Estonia and elevate the scene here. But it's like the e-residency thing. It's used in so many ways, so I don't exactly know like what's my stance on it. because for a lot of companies, their operations are, still in their own countries and their teams are there, and e-residency is just used to have a legal entity in Estonia, operate with tax laws and systems in Estonia. But ideally, I would like to see companies either coming here or creating like a satellite studio in Estonia. And yeah, like Estonia is great. Like as mentioned before, like the high tech environment and everything being in your hands reach. Most cities have very low commute times. You have like a lot of quick ways to network here. There's so many co-working spaces in different cities, and if people would actually physically come here for their game development operations, it would elevate the whole scene, and I think it would be useful for everyone because Estonia is known for a very strong startup mentality, like resilience against business development challenges. So whoever would come here, it would rub off mutually, like bringing different cultures and experience together to make everyone's operation stronger. Okay, I see that there's no more questions right now. If you have any, you can hit me up on LinkedIn, and thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Bye.